The will they, won't they work with Winston Waltz has begun. Labour leader Chris Hipkins is leaving the door ajar, having slammed it shut last election. That's despite Peters permanently ruling out working with Hipkins. Stuff's political editor Tova O'Brien spoke to Chris Hipkins ahead of the Labour Party conference this weekend and asked him if he would step aside as leader if it meant Peters returning Labour to power.
Are you not willing to rule out letting Winston Peters choose the leader of the Labour Party?
The New Zealand public get to choose who should lead the next government. My goal is to make sure that Labour is in the best possible position to lead the next government. And if that is us, I will be the leader.
Okay, but he hasn't said that he won't work with Labour. He said that he won't work with you. So would you rule out stepping aside and allowing Winston Peters to effectively choose the leader of the Labour Party?
Winston Peters doesn't get to choose the leaders of other political parties. He may get to choose the leadership of New Zealand First because he really is the only MP in New Zealand First. But he doesn't get to choose the leadership of any other political party.
Okay, so you're ruling that out. You wouldn't step aside and let someone else step into the breach if it meant that Labour could go into government?
If New Zealanders vote for a Labour-led government under my leadership, that's what New Zealanders will have voted for. And so, no, I wouldn't step aside in those circumstances because I think that would be a betrayal of the people who voted for us.
But if it's the difference between Labour going into government or not, you wouldn't sacrifice your own self then. Conversely, you wouldn't sacrifice your own self to allow Labour to govern.
If you look at where Labour's polling's going, we're gaining more and more support by the day. And my goal is to continue to grow that. I want to lead a very strong Labour-led government.
Okay, so that all of your colleagues, presumably who you think would do a good job and effect positive change in ministerial roles, you're saying, sorry, another 3 years benched in opposition if Winston Peters refuses to work with me, Chris Hipkins, personally.
I think it's a farcical argument, Tova. I think New Zealanders have had a guts full of Winston Peters holding the country to ransom, and I'm not going to play that game.
If you lost, though, surely you'd stand down anyway. You can't lose 2 elections and remain leader, so why not just make the sacrifice, let Labour govern in this situation?
I'm not intending to lose.
Would you ever let Winston Peters be Prime Minister for part of a term as part of negotiations?
The convention under MMP is that the leader of the largest party in government leads the government, and that will always be Labour's position.
I mean, it was loosely floated, I think, in 1996 that perhaps Peters could be the Prime Minister for a time, and he harked back to 1932 when, in fact, the leader of the second largest party was the Prime Minister. Are you ruling out letting Winston Peters be the Prime Minister for a time?
If Labour is leading the government, it will be the leader of the Labour Party, me, who will be the Prime Minister.